Good evening, Yabuna ma'am. Yamuna ma'am, I can't hear you, ma'am.
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you so much. Very glad to see you, Namrata, ma'am. It is an honor actually to have you today with all of us. Dr. Madhusudanan sir, he is a
Yeah,
startup coordinator who will join with us, Namrata, ma'am.
good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Madhusudanan sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
So, ma'am, are we waiting for other few students to join?
Yes, ma'am. Let us wait for another 2 to 3 minutes. Then we start
Okay.
up our program, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
Pragadish?
Good evening, Yamuna ma'am.
Yeah, I think we can start the program. Good evening, Lata ma'am.
Yes.
Thanks for coming. Pragadish? My internet connect. Yes, you are audible, Pragadish.
Thank you all. Now I would like to extend my hearty welcome to our Honorable Secretary Sir, Shri Ashok Kumar Mundra Sir, our General Principal Captain Dr. S. Santosh Babu Sir, our Cordial Convener Dr. P. Vidya Ma'am, our guest speaker for the day Dr. Namrata Acharya Ma'am, and one all gathered here. I now invite Dr. S. Madhusudanam Sir, to Startup Coordinator, to deliver Presidential Address.
Jai Sri Krishna. A warm good evening to all who have joined virtually in this platform. I thank the opportunity also. The Startup of Institutions Innovation Council of Dwaragadas Govardhan Vaishnav College strive towards the development of student entrepreneurship skills and enriches their knowledge towards venturing for new business startups. This webinar will definitely be a milestone in entrepreneurship growth the students, and also will induce the students to discover new business ideas and take it forward, and also enlighten everyone gathered virtually here. I thank our guest of honor today, Namrata Acharya ma'am, for joining this webinar and guiding the students. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome. First of all, I would really appreciate the Institute to organize a session on a very, very relevant topic, which I think everybody is now looking at, which is creating an online repository of IIC. I would like to personally thank Dr. Yamuna for inviting me to be one of the speakers for the IIC session. And I'm sure, Dr. Madhusudan, after listening to your presidential address, we're going to see a lot of entrepreneurs coming out from your campus. So before I start my session, I would like to thank all of you. And to be very honest, I appreciate the efforts put by the Institute for the students. Let me just share my presentation. So, as the topic which is allotted me for the day is developing online repository of proof of concepts developed and way forward. Let us understand what is this entire concept of making an online repository. After speaking to the coordinators, I have understood that the students are all BCom and management students. So what I will do is, though I'm talking about an online repository, which is an IT-based system, I'll keep it simple in a way where you can understand how it is relevant to you when you are developing your business ideas. So I'm going to mix it with two things. I'm going to talk about the entrepreneurial mindset of the students, or how could these, this entire function of online repository work for any e-cell or IIC of any institute. And I'm going to take examples from the management background. In case of any questions, please feel free to ask. You can unmute yourself and post a question, or you can put it in the chat box. So very important for all of us to understand is what is online, depositories. So first thing is, any kind of repository or depository made by any institute or any organization is basically to have, give an access to people in the digital format. So the whole concept of an online repository or a depository is to have an open access digital archive on an open source software platform. So in a nutshell, in case your institute is using an LMS or an ERP, you are actually giving an access to students to have an access to a number of online, activities. Fine, online, it could be online projects, online research journals, so it could be an online library. So now we also have, the Koha software, which actually gets you all the books in the digital form. So you could actually even use open an ebook on your cell phone. So that's also an online depository. Now this depository could be for a number of things. Fine. I'll say an online depository is also a managed and a persistent way of making digital assets accessible with continuing value. So it is not only about the student saving the data. It's more from the institute level. You're trying to, collate things in a proper way so that all the digital assets created by students as well as faculty members as their guide are saved in a proper format. Fine, including, student projects. And it is also, when I say online depositories or we are talking about repositories, setting up of any repositories would enable each institute, staff, faculty as well as student to preserve their assets and gain the maximum benefit today or in future. So today when you're studying a 2-year, a master's program, or if you're studying a, 3 years bachelor's program, wherein you are making different projects and assignments, which you feel are your, you would have developed a particular model which you want to save, then this particular portal becomes the right portal to get your projects or get your model as a repository designated. Maybe a faculty is also involved in making the project or the model for you, and even that gets saved in a digital format. So you're giving access to everybody who could even see. So it gets registered in your name that you're the one who is the original creator of the project, and it gets, it goes to all the students who across the campus as well as alumni to view it. So you also get a lot of views from people. You understand, you get a good analysis about your, about your digital assets. Remember, the institute should also understand that it's not only the student who is, making a model. There is time and resources which the institute is also giving, including the faculty time. So it's basically creating assets for the institute. Right? Now, what is usually an institutional repository? If I go by definition, it says an institutional repository is an archive for collecting, preserving, and disseminating digital copies of the intellectual output of an institution, particularly a research institution. So till now, what we have seen in case of repositories is there are a lot of research and innovation repositories which are available, where you can get a lot of journals, access to a number of journals, access to a number of research papers. So till date, institutional repository definition till 2002 was more on collecting, preserving, and disseminating the digital copies of this intellectual output. Okay, now this could happen in your case for your projects also. Right? So this was what people believed in 2002. Now let us see how things have changed. Okay, what is the change which has come? I'll say, started pre-COVID, and it is massively changed post-COVID. Lynch and Clifford says that an institutional repository can be also viewed as a set of services that a university offers to members of its community for the management and dissemination of the digital material created by the institution and its community members. So institutional repository for you as a student or for your institute would be a platform wherein even after you pass out or you become an alumni, maybe you worked on a business idea which is now part of the repository, or you worked on a business model, or you worked on a project which was your original model, which you want to refer back maybe after 5 years. So if you have registered yourself with the institutional repository, then this becomes, one platform wherein the management, the alumni, the stakeholder, parents, find each person can give their inputs on the digital material which you create. Fine. So it is, I'll say it's created with the help of the institution and all the community members. So this becomes one repository which has a lot of value. For a university, online depositories can be maintained by monographs, e-prints of academic journals, both pre-prints, post-prints, undergoing peer review, as well as electronic thesis and dissertations. Till now, all the universities, for them, it's a mandate that they have to, keep a record of all the submissions of their PhD students. So this online depository has made this comparatively simpler for them to manage, as everything is in the soft form now. So it could also be whenever you're looking at when you are working on having a journal coming in. So all the papers collected, the pre-prints, post-prints were also collected in the institutional repository, and they were saved in an electronic form. Now, what is the new change which we have seen? The change right now which we have seen and which we are going to further see from institutes is, if you see now, institutional repository definition has increased. So we are not only going to talk about journals or projects, which is a mandate by a university. Why not create more of digital assets like data sets, administrative documents, have your course notes, your learning objectives defined on a platform, have the student projects, event reports, pictures of events, conference reports, conference proceedings, along with the journal also be added in the institutional repository. Fine, this repository could be, in some institutes they have mandated it that you would have to save all your event pictures in a particular format on the repository. But there are a number of institutes who are now opening up to this idea. It's not only for the institute, but please understand when I say I'm making an institutional repository, I will also, want that access, some portion of the access to be given to the students so that even they could make some good use of it. Right. So this is basically a new change which has come in the education industry, where each institute is now looking at creating a repository of all the assets. So all my ideas, all my projects, all what my students work along with their teachers get actually saved in this repository. One question what I would like to pose every student here: do we really require a repository for business ideas? Fine. A lot of people may think, why, have it for business ideas? Somebody may copy my idea. So anybody, do you think it's really, it's something which we should look at, having a repository for business ideas? Any thoughts? Okay, one biggest hesitation of a lot of budding entrepreneurs is, somebody will steal my idea. Right. So a student may just say, no, I don't want my, idea to be posted in the repository or to be saved in the repository because somebody is going to, work on my idea and going to use my idea. But this is not how it works. Why should you first look at repository? And then I can tell you what are things or what could be the permissions granted with respect of repositories. First is whenever you're putting your business idea into a particular model, maybe a business model canvas or a lean canvas or a B plan, you are entailing a lot of peer discussion on your ideas. So maybe I'm not built up a B plan also, but I have an idea in mind and I post that idea on the repository and I'm asking people to give their views. Right? So maybe a lot of peer discussion can happen because you have a platform where these repositories are kept, and you are having an open, since it's an open access, you're also allowing people to start a discussion on that particular idea. So a lot of peer discussion can happen on ideas. This would also mean that you're not getting judged only by your own friends, but you could get judged by entire all the stakeholders in the institute who have access to this repository. So you become boundaryless completely. So if a graduate student is working on an idea which is a tech idea, so a student from MCA or BCA could comment whether this is technically feasible or not feasible. So you would invite a lot of people to come and speak to you. They would also be interested maybe tomorrow joining your team if you want to take up this as a business idea. Fine. It would also instill further ideas in the campus. So it's one idea which is going to give birth to a number of ideas. It also becomes a reflective tool for budding student entrepreneurs. So today I am in my maybe first year of graduation, and I actually have posted an idea, or I have made an idea or a model which I have saved in the institute repository. Maybe after I graduate or I complete my master's, after leaving the institute also, fine, I still have access to this repository. I can still work on that idea. It becomes a repository tool where my idea is saved. It can also be linked with probable investors. I can actually pitch in when, in fact, this is just for your information, a lot of companies now prefer students who have an entrepreneurial mindset. So if you have an entrepreneurial bent or if you have an entrepreneurial mindset, they are keen on recruiting you first, especially management students. The only idea is, I know if you join my company and you think, since you think like an entrepreneur, you're going to be an entrepreneur in my company, you're going to grow the company with me. So making a repository for ideas also work. In fact, if we look at Wadhwani Foundation, they have currently started, their certification courses. Under the certification courses, they want each student to submit a B plan in a particular format. So they have already started creating this repository for ideas. They are already, taking these ideas, created a repository of ideas from across the world wherever they run these courses. So this is one step ahead. So why can't institute do it at their level, wherein they can also have their B plans made by students, and it could be deposited in a repository under a student's name and the faculty guide's name, whoever has helped or mentored in the project. Fine. So this can be worked out. This can be worked out. Now, when you talk about online repository for ideas, why have an online repository? I said there are some benefits or why you should look at. Please remember, if it's your original idea, even if somebody wants to copy, so if you share your idea with a faculty mentor or with me, and we are helping you or we're guiding you with that idea, it doesn't mean that we'll start the business, whatever idea you have. Right? So it doesn't work like this. Nobody is actually there to steal your idea. Always remember, if it's your idea, it remains core to you. It's a genuine idea. It's with you. You know how well to implement the idea. Even if somebody wants to replicate it, it becomes very difficult for that person to replicate the idea. So online repositories of ideas will help you in future to have an easy access to the institutes when it comes to compliances of NAC, NBA or AICT, when you talk about how many business ideas or how many entrepreneurs from your institute, from the student perspective, easy access to some business idea which they developed years ago, and they can just reflect back and revise that. A lot of efficient access. We are on cloud, so I don't have to actually go and surf my hard drive for the idea. I know the idea is repository with my institute on cloud, and so I can access that very well. So it's very efficient and fast access. I would have higher exposure in case I want to pitch anybody, whether it's a company for a job or an investor for funding. I could actually, just share the link of my repository where some access could be granted to a particular person, and that particular idea could be shared with a lot of investors, consultants, or speakers or mentors who come regularly and take sessions with the IIC of your institute. This also ensures there is a lot of persistent access. Access is not only given to the students, but also once you become an alumni, so that you can reap benefits. Some of the portals do have an access fees, but what I feel is when we are developing, it from the institute point of view, for all the stakeholders of the institute, it should be in completely open access. We can in fact think of whether we keep it open for people even outside the campus. Fine. So it should have a persistent and an open access for everybody to look at the repository. This also ensures whenever we're going for an online repository for business ideas, it also ensures there's a long-term storage and preservation of the idea, and the idea does not get killed very early. So if I started developing an idea 3 years back, I may have it in the repository, and back of the mind, I still know that, can go back and work on my idea and maybe, kickstart that if I feel so that I want to start a business maybe after 3 years. Fine. So it ensures long-term storage, preservation of ideas. My canvases, my models could be, could be safe with the institute repository, and it also helps a student to pitch. Fine. Whether you're a student or an alumni, it becomes very easy for you to pitch. Whether you want to pitch to a bank or you want to pitch to an investor, it becomes very easy for somebody to pitch if these online repositories are available. It also gives a second, it also assures the person who's actually looking at your idea that you have undergone a particular, skill development in entrepreneurship in your institute, and you have developed the right resource, and you were guided and mentored by a particular faculty, which also adds further credibility to your idea. So that really works for an idea too. Now, the topic name is developing online repository of proof of concept. So what is this entire, proof of concept? What is the meaning of proof of concept? So if you look at proof of concept, is nothing but a quick implementation of any idea, method, or, on a smaller scale or a larger scale. So whatever small thing you have done to make the project workable, or to start or kickstart a particular venture, or to set up an incubator. So what these small things are basically small concepts which could be developed into different lean canvases, or it could be in a business model format, and it could be updated. See, nobody tells you that you need to give everything on the online repository accessible to all people, all the stakeholders, but definitely small models or lean campuses could be in the repository, which could be a proof of concept which you developed under your name, copyrighted. Fine. Specific templates are basically used when we talk about proof of concepts for specific projects. This could be, this works like a perfect tool to showcase finding. So every institute which is looking at building an online repositories for business ideas should look at, creating a template. A student should be given a template where they can fill in the details, the bare minimum details. And, this could be, posted on their name on the online repository, and it could be kept saved. There could be a choice, and this could be open access, and there could be a choice of having 100% access for people who are interested or keen on, either joining this student to start a team together. So the student can decide, or, a particular software should give an access to investors in case somebody is trying to pitch. So this could be a proof of concept under the online repositories for the business ideas, right? Templates of idea evaluation and business lean campus should be drawn, very, very basic ones. Business model canvas could also be used in case you want to further go for developing a proof of concept. So what happens is every institute builds an online repository wherein we say we trained 100 students, 200 students, 500 students, or maybe 1,000 students, 2,000 students to become entrepreneur. They have undergone a course, and under this course they have built this idea or a business lean canvas. For that idea gets recorded as a proof of concept under their name. Right. So this entails, a lot of ownership of the idea by the student, and they become very, very cautious while actually developing that idea. After, they have registered the idea, or after they have actually worked on that, on this particular lean campus, there could be a second, category of saving in the online repository. It could be a feasibility testing. So one repository could be made on ideas, other repository could be made or maybe a link with the idea wherein you can say these are the ideas given by all the students. And the second one could be the ones who actually take it ahead. So the students who actually take it ahead, they try or test it, or they do research by giving that service of whatever idea they have. They can also record their responses with their trial or error methods in the repository. The online repositories not only work for you to actually pitch the idea, but it also works for people who are interested in selling off their ideas. So there is a new, there's a new gen which says that, okay, I'll build the idea, I'll do the feasibility testing, and I start the idea, and then I sell that entire idea to a company or to investor who takes it ahead. Right? So if even that has to be worked, feasibility testing report really works. So talk about whether your concept or model which you've developed is feasible, whether there's an evidence to support the feasibility. So you have the responses on a Google sheet, or you do an analysis of the responses after you give the services. You can have testimonials. You could have some feedback from the customers. And when you do the feasibility testing for your plan A, so plan A of your idea says that, I want to get into, say I want to become a second person who's giving, say customized cakes. Say, for example, I want to develop a model who talks about how fast can I deliver a customized cake and which region or. So now when I start doing this, I get an evidence stating that, the kind of stores in a particular locality when I'm trying to push this, my idea is not feasible, or, that people, there are a lot of takers for that idea. So what's my plan B? So if my feasibility testing fails, I can immediately shift and change my variables to test my plan B if plan A doesn't work. Right? So a student can actually test his or her business idea with different variables and then create a balance between plan A and plan B to actually save this feasibility testing reports also. The entire idea of doing feasibility testing with your business model canvas or your business idea analysis is to have this proof of principle or concepts, see a lesser risk in case somebody intends to implement. Tomorrow, if you want to implement your business idea, or you want you to go for any kind of sponsorship or investor, or you want to sell off your idea to a second person, the potential risk of this idea getting failed would be comparatively lesser. In the early stage itself, in the institute, when you have tried and tested the idea, you come to know at this early stage whether it's feasible or no, and whether it should be done or no. So that really would define what is your future path or what resources would you require going forward. Also try to check the internal and external environment. Try to plan your resources and technology accordingly. how the world is moving, what is your vision, right? See, when we're talking about business, proof of concepts, these are small, technological solutions which each business idea develops. So tomorrow you start a business, it's a small tech solution which you develop, or which you have got yourself, modeled or customized for. You save this particular idea, you test this particular IT solution right away in the campus. So you're trying to check it with your internal environment before you're ready to go for an external environment. And you also try planning your resources, and you also understand the bigger technological advancement. Try to understand where the world is moving, what is your vision, how you want to take it ahead. So this also, could be a third stage of developing a repository. So first you could have your idea, repository. Second could be the feasibility test report repository linked to the idea in case for the students who go ahead. And third could be a risk analysis or evaluation report by investors, by mentors on whether it's a feasible idea or no. So this could be the third category. So we can create a repository of ideas, plus get them a feasibility check, and also have further people come and discuss about it. Why go for online repository, or why it's a topic which is of importance right now? Universities now feel that when you talk about online repositories, they are very, they actually are linked with the entire goal of sustainable development. So United Nations has a goal of, promoting sustainable development, and online repositories are working towards sustainable development because we are going paperless. We are using IoT and cloud-based services for building repositories, and they're able to manage and save this particular, concepts and ideas which are developed by our students over the number of years. So, coming online, I'm sure faculties here would agree that at times we reflect back, 10 years back, one of my students made a model or made a project like this, which is a very good model which each student should look upon. Now, if I don't have an online repository, it becomes very difficult for me to track a student project 10 years back. Right? So online repositories are IoT or cloud-based services, which will actually make you understand what has a student, where is it saved and how the student is used, how many people are actually referring that particular digital asset which is created under your guidance by the student. Right? So try to you could look at a lot of Internet of Things or cloud-based services which are used for these online repositories. If you look at Gartner hype cycle phases, so who's Gartner? Gartner is a research company, which is an IT research consulting firm, and it has a lot of hype cycle, of different industries and sector, which every year it publishes. Now, Gartner is one IT research consulting company, which every company looks upon to understand what is the trend happening in the IT industry, what is the trend in the digital marketing space, how is the digital advertising working. So everybody is looking about Gartner. So now when I'm talking about an online repository, I'm also telling you, try to push your idea through the online repository phase, or have a backup of an online repository to safeguard your idea, or to link a lot of stakeholders for this idea. So Gartner says that one thing we need not forget when you have you're trying to build something in the IT domain, there is a cycle which every technology actually undergoes, or every startup actually undergoes. So startup starts with an expectation of their entrepreneur, and you try to trigger a technology, or you try to put up a business model in the phase in the initial year, and you are at the rise. So that's the first level wherein you start rising. You have startup companies who may get some venture capitalist funding, and they could be first generation products which get developed with the help of small tech products. You could also be an early adopter or investigator, or a mass media or a supplier profession. Now, from this level of your technological trigger, you go to a peak of infinite expectation. So once you start putting up your idea, your expectations of your institute increases, and you reach a peak level where you become an early adopter. A lot of people appreciate your idea, they want to try out your idea, and they want to be with you in business. There is a possibility that you may fail somewhere, because once you start doing it at a larger scale, you get a supplier consolidation, or second round of venture capitalist funding doesn't come. Now this could slide you down in your entrepreneurial venture, And then again from there, you start looking at who's that 5% who stays back with you. So best example is, let's talk about a lot of online delivery food partners. So we have, Amazon, which has started Amazon Fresh. We have Grofers. We have, Big Basket. We have now Ola also, which has started into, sending fresh vegetables home. We have Super. Now all these apps, there are so many apps and so much of competition in the market. You may try one in the initial days because the person is trying to push in that particular service with a very good discount or an offer. And after some time, there are a lot of people who were only there for discount, they leave you and they go. But 5% may still remain. Okay, so that 5% audience, you try to develop now second gen product, try to make a better technology driven forefront and process and take the ideas further, and then you see then you start sliding up in your venture, and you enter a plateau of growth where you can capture around 20 to 30% of the market. So this is how actually the entire technological cycle or a startup cycle works, right? If I put it across as an example from the digital marketing space, since I have a lot of commerce students here as well as management students, I'll say initially you become an influencer. You try to influence people, you get the customer data, you try to have some survey forms, or you try to push in by giving something free in the innovation trigger. And then you have your customer journey, you ask them for feedback, you take an analysis, real-time analysis, and you take a feedback from them. Slowly and gradually other companies also follow the same, and only few people remain with you, only few customers remain with you. Now how do I come to know who are the customers remaining with me on the social platform? Also I actually do an AI of marketing. So I use an artificial intelligence of marketing to understand how things work. I personalize it, and then I again get my mobile wallet and my page in place, and then I try to push in for my different consumers who are on my page for a particular reason, after I understand the dynamics or demographics of my customer. So this is nothing but again a hype cycle for digital marketing, which works as per Gartner. Now, when we talk about innovation, so Gartner says it's not only about technology, but it's also about innovation. And he says small innovations are actually the key. Gartner today predicts that in 2026, all leading organizations which have a very solid and resilient business foundation, they would be able to build new opportunities for economic and strategic uncertainties. See, today, if these companies are able to survive the COVID era and still do a good business, they already have made a lot of opportunities built for you as a student to start. There is a lot of digital transformation which has happened, and in 2026, it would be very massive. Technological innovation would be a key tool in the endeavor, and I'm sure all the young students listening to me, they all would be even more tech savvy on a lot of social platforms compared to all of us. So it's the hype cycle which says that in case you find yourself in this arena, you should exploit your innovation process, make it your core competency, and try to build whatever business idea you have, try to have innovation at the key, and try to make this innovation as a core competency for your business idea. Shape and prioritize your approach and plan for change in case your strategy changes or you're not able to manage that risk. So exploit, shape and prioritize your approach and plan for change if it doesn't work. Fine. Just some statistics. If you look at social media users across the world, we see that India, the Asian region, still only has 34% exploitation of technology and social media technology. And we are expecting more people to join social media very soon. These stats are from Jan 2022. I'm sure once this platform grows from 34% to 54%, your 5% people remaining or sticking back to you, that entire market share increases. Similarly, if you look at the stats for people who are using social media or their quarter-on-quarter change, every year it has increased. So in January, they said 4.62 billion people actually became new social media users. 1.7 billion million people, there's a quarter-on-quarter change on social media users. So 1.7 billion have joined each quarter. 10.1% or 424 million people was a year-on-year change. And the average time spent by any individual on social media was nothing less than 2 hours and 27 minutes. Fine, which is a very, very massive, time of any individual on social media. So social media exploitation or the web exploitation or Internet of Things exploitation becomes a key. Online repository helps in this promotion is because I can link my online repository to a number of things which would take it ahead. Fine. The number of monthly users which get added also on social media. If you look at the active users, the more active users are now on Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp, and Instagram and WeChat. So these are the platforms which have seen maximum users, more than 2 billion users on Facebook, around 1.8 billion on YouTube, and so on. So what is the next need of the hour? So I said IoT is a need of the hour. So if IoT is the need of the hour, why it's a need of a sustainable solution, whether it's an online repository or creating, online resources for your company, it would help in reduction in energy bills for everybody because it's not only the institute, universities, everybody feels that is more, it's less space saving and better in energy efficient solutions. All IoT or online repositories are energy efficient compared to other any softwares. It also helps you to it will help every institute to connect to different government, regional or local bodies. It could be it could be your local state universities or even AICTs. You could create a link using your online repositories. It also helps in a lot of reduction in greenhouse emissions since your energy bills are low. It tries to promote smart technology not only in campus but also among your students, and it also helps everybody collectively save energy, which could be used for produce more production of energy for people who are underprivileged. Fine. As I informed you, UN Sustainability Report. If you look here, the 17 goals of UN Sustainability, the major focus is on the 9th one, which says industry, innovation, and infrastructure development. Why this goal? This goal is something which is talking about creating of online space, online repositories, and innovation. And talking about 11, which is sustainable cities and communities. So we have smart cities, which are again tech-based. So why can't we have ideas also in the online repository format? And the 13th one is climate action. And 14th one is life below water or life on land. Now these all these goals are finally trying to tell people is they try to use lesser resources and optimize the resources, which could be seen from the online repository space. So if we talk about online repositories for all of us in the institute of building our ideas or building our models or our projects on the online space, it would have a lot of improved access for all of us. It is better security. Since your idea is safe, it's copyrighted on your name in the institute. It also leads to streamlined management, whether it is the faculty or the top management looking at the idea, or any investor which has got access. It gives a lot of visibility for your idea. You can also start discussions on your idea. You increase a lot of productivity, and you have a faster reactivity to change from plan A to plan B. So that's one of the biggest benefit of having a digital repository. This is one sample of a repository created by a company. Okay, so there is one of the companies which actually built an online repository for a company, IT company, so that they could have a lot of innovative ideas being saved and shared among different groups. So if you see here, there are people who are working in different departments. It could be the HR or it could be any other department. Everybody is linked either to the consumer or to the vendors, and they are asking ideas from each one. Fine. These ideas are finally, moving back forward to the top people in the company, the CTO, the sales director, and then it is leading to taking of action by these top management people, wherein they are digitalizing the process, they are doing some charity NGO activity, they can find new sales portal, or they are doing a lot of training programs for the staff. Now this entails exchange of ideas. So, exchange of ideas works all the ways. It also works in a company. So the students who are listening to me, it's not only about an entrepreneurial idea, it's an idea repository which you will also see in a company. In fact, a lot of IT companies promote taking a hobby project wherein you will develop a new technology for the company during a year. Right? What are the different flavors of repositories? So any institute looking at building a way forward, what's a new way forward for building an online repository. Try to look at what could be the content in the repository, which templates, which models will you use, what is the coverage level, what all you can cover and what all you can hide from access to all. Who are the user groups? Define the user groups. Try to look at the domain or the platform where you're going to have this repository, which will be the community which would be taking care of it. What are the different access policies which your institute defines? What is the distribution among, so how you're going to open this distribution of idea, or, a student sharing that idea with anybody else, and what's the entire function and purpose of making the repository. So you could also look at these domains while you actually build an online repository of your business ideas. Right? If you look from a research point of view, I am sure all the educationists listening to me, they'll agree that there is an institutional repository wheel when it comes to research. So we all know whether it's an open access journal or, what kind of, resources would be available, what kind of, persistent research goes in, what kind of citations happen. So this circle defines whether your research was empirical, whether you're a dynamic researcher, or you had a persistent archival. Fine. So it basically will tell us which area, or where would your research gets posted, whether it's a personal research, national research project, an institutional level, commercial project. So if we can, since this wheel is defined from the research point of view, we can have a similar wheel from the innovative ideas point of view, wherein we can have different templates working on different personas and define which one would have what access. Fine. One of the most simplest way for starting a repository is creating a policy of the repository, laying down a lot of rules and regulations in a particular format, putting it in the form of guidelines, who would be the contractor, contributor, who would be an access level, whether you can withdraw your, idea or publication or a project which you have, which you intend to put. Try to also see the right platform where you want to host this, because it's a student's, genuine effort, and it should not be showcased for people who could misuse it. Try to acquire a lot of correct IT infrastructure in place, have a very good solution and a software. Keep in mind which are the servers, what computers are using, so that no hiccups happen in the software when people want to access it. Try to also set up this in such a way that it becomes relevant from people's learning point of view. Right? They could use it as a useful content to further develop, and they could also give ideas. So if I have a business idea register, why not have some more people from my juniors to come and work on that idea and give additional inputs, right? So it should be kept in such a way open that, people could also contribute. I'm sure building a repository is like an iceberg. How much ever you add in, it's a ball game, it doesn't end. Right? One simple example, I think most of the institutes, even our institutes, use this, is having a DSpace homepage, wherein we deposit all our ideas, or even pictures, or research journals, all that get deposited in the DSpace. So this is for the institute, not for the students. So you could, every institute could look at having a DSpace, have the top level community defined and a sub community defined with access rights, and try to create a collection under different heads, what you want to put in, whether it's a business idea, a journal, or a conference article, and collect this in your repository, and use it for any kind of accreditation or any kind of compliance. This really works. It works in our institute. I'm sure it works in each institute which is using the DSpace. I'm open to questions. Thank you so much for the patient listening.
Thank you, ma'am, for such a knowledge-enriching lecture, which will be highly beneficial for all of us. Now the platform is open for questions. You can either switch on your mic or put forth your question in chat box in Google Meet.
Students, you can ask your doubts and get clarified.
Yes, please go ahead. Yes, right. Absolutely. So there are different softwares which you could use wherein nothing gets copied. So nobody can actually try to copy or just paste your idea. They cannot download. They can only have an access. They can only see what you have developed. You can also, in case you feel your business model or idea is something very very unique, I would recommend the institute. With the institute's help, you could even get your idea patented. If it is something which is of a different or an immense value, I'm sure you would be conducting an IPR session also in your IIC, so you could get your business model patented. So one of I'm just giving you one example. One of my two of my batchmates did this with their business idea. They got their business idea patented, and then later on they sold that idea to a company and joined their company, joined the same company at senior manager level. So you're actually kickstarting your entire career. So your friends would start at a managerial or an executive level, and you start at the senior manager level where you become a head of a particular idea, because it's your idea. You developed the model, you know the process, how to run it, so you could head that particular team. So in case you feel there that you have something which is of immense value, which is very unique, please take help of the ISC of your institute and get your business model patented and under the name of the college, and under your name, which would be useful for you in future. So even if it is accessible, you have a copyright on this, nobody can copy your idea. Okay, see, Sham has a question. He says, how is it different from patent, or both are same? So, Sham, when you're talking about building a model or building a process, patent is what you get. Online repository is basically a platform or a cloud-based solution wherein you can deposit your idea, where you can work on your idea today or maybe after 3 years or 10 years down the line. You don't have to search whatever you created in the college. After 5 years, if you want to become an entrepreneur, fine. So that's an online repository. So I said there are two things which you can do. As a student, we just create a repository of ideas. Everybody has their idea. They prepare a lean canvas of it and they put the idea on the repository. You've not built the entire model. Now, you can also convert this in, if you're very serious about taking up the business, you can convert this into an entire business model, a workable model. That's first level of the repository. Do a feasibility study, that's the second level of the repository. Do a risk analysis, which is the final stage of the repository, and kickstart your venture. Now, when it comes to patent is taken only for things which are very, very unique. Fine. So if you have built a particular model which is very unique, which is not currently existing anywhere, and you want to have a copyright on your name, saying that nobody could actually use your process because your process is your core competency or your technology is your core competency, then you can actually patent that particular idea. So the institute can file a patent with your name under the IIC, which could help the institute also to safeguard your idea under the repository, and it will also help you to promote your idea wherever you go without losing your idea. Well, a lot of students, I feel, have an hesitation when we say sharing idea or sharing it with the institute. What if everybody has an access? Please remember, even if you share your idea with your friends, it's your idea. You know how to do it well. Nobody can copy your idea. You would still master in the business which you start. Right? So online repositories are created by a lot of networks. I'm sure we as faculty mentors and guides are looking and hearing a lot of ideas across the country. So I am one of the global jury in the Wadhwani Foundation, where and I evaluate a lot of ideas. So what happens there is I'm listening to ideas from people in Philippines. I'm listening to ideas from some institute in Andhra Pradesh. And it's not only me. There's a panel of other institute faculties as well as panel of people from their institute also who are part of this evaluation. If the idea was so secretive, why would somebody share it? It's only you who knows to do the business, and so don't be hesitant ever to create this online repository with your institute. It will be of immense value after you leave the course and you want to start back your entrepreneurial venture after a few years. Any other questions?
I request Madhusudanan sirs to highlight the wonderful ideas, the themes Namrata ma'am had been shared with us. Could you please give us a
In-depth knowledge and clear explanation of developing online repository of proof of concepts and the way forward. Your explanation about developing apps and the ideas, giving ideas to the students was excellent, ma'am. We all could understand and grasp very clearly. I hope all our students will benefit, and in the future we expect to generate more young entrepreneurs. We thank all the participating faculties and students for their kind attention. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request to play national anthem. Thank you all for your coordination and interaction.
yes, sure. 1 minute?
Yes, ma'am.
Namrata ma'am, I really thank you for accepting our invitation. I know you are very busy, having a very busy schedule.
So sorry,
In
ma'am. I
spite
had
of
to
your
postpone.
I understand. Not only you, ma'am. Actually, we too having our NAC in next month. Actually, prerequisite. So we all are still in college. We are in process of it. That's why we couldn't able to get more people into it. Actually, the faculties because all are engaged in it. But in spite of, I think leave it about us. Actually, you had actually allotted us and given us your wonderful time and also shared the content, whatever that would have been shared that you have shared as of now. I think. And I believe that it will definitely reach the students. Once again, thank you, Namrata ma'am. We'll keep in touch with you.
Yes,
Thank you.
definitely, ma'am.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.